Imagine this. You have limited space, a limited budget, and you can only choose 10 foods to build your emergency pantry. Not 50, not 100, just 10. What would you choose? This is where many people make a mistake. They buy random survival foods, expensive freeze-dried meals, snacks they'll never eat, specialty products with complicated preparation instructions, and dozens of different items that don't actually work together. But when you strip everything down, a practical emergency food supply doesn't need to be complicated. You need foods that provide useful calories, foods that can be stored, foods that are versatile, foods your household will actually eat, and foods that can work together to create more than just one boring meal. Now, let's be clear. Everything else isn't literally useless. A balanced diet requires variety, and individual nutritional needs can differ. But if space, money, or time are limited, these 10 foods can form a practical foundation for a simple emergency pantry. The goal isn't to survive forever on one repetitive menu. It's to make sure you have dependable options when normal grocery shopping, refrigeration, or cooking routines are disrupted. And another thing, no food stockpile works without water. Safe drinking water and a realistic way to prepare food are just as important as the food itself. Some items on this list can be eaten with little preparation. Others require water, fuel, and cooking equipment. So think about the complete system before filling your shelves. Before we begin, subscribe to Prepper Pulse and turn on notifications. We upload new videos daily with practical preparedness tips, grocery advice, food storage ideas, and emergency planning strategies to help you stay informed and ready. Now let's count down the 10 foods that could form the foundation of a simple, practical survival pantry. Starting with number 10. Number 10. White rice. Starting at number 10 is one of the simplest and most useful foundations for an emergency pantry. White rice. It may not look exciting. It doesn't come in flashy packaging. And by itself, it can seem almost too basic to deserve a place on a survival list. But that's exactly what makes it valuable. White rice is affordable, compact, versatile, and easy to combine with other foods. One bag can become dozens of different meals depending on what you add to it. You can pair it with beans, mix it with vegetables, serve it alongside canned meat, add seasonings, or use it as a filling base for almost any meal. That's important when you're limited to only 10 foods. Every item needs to work with the others. Rice does exactly that. It can provide a reliable source of energy and help make smaller amounts of other foods go further. But there is one major consideration. Rice requires water and cooking. That means it only works as part of a realistic preparedness plan. You need enough safe water, a way to heat it, and enough fuel or power to cook it. Don't fill your entire pantry with dry foods if you have no plan for preparing them. When storing white rice for longer periods, moisture, pests, and excessive heat are major concerns. Keep it in appropriate food-safe, airtight storage according to your storage plan. Rotate what you use, and avoid storing food where leaks, humidity, or pests can easily reach it. White rice earns the number 10 spot because it's affordable, versatile, calorie-dense when dry, and capable of becoming the foundation for countless simple meals. And the next food adds something rice alone can't provide. A practical source of protein that can work with it in almost every situation. Number 9. Dried lentils. At number 9 is a food that can add protein, substance, and versatility to a simple survival pantry. Dried lentils. If you're limited to only 10 foods, every item has to earn its space. And lentils can do exactly that. They are compact, relatively inexpensive, easy to store when kept dry, and useful in a wide range of meals. You can combine them with rice, turn them into soup, cook them into a thick stew, season them in different ways, or mix them with other pantry ingredients to create a more filling meal. Another advantage is that many types of lentils cook faster than several other dried legumes. That can help reduce cooking time. And in an emergency, saving fuel can matter. But just like rice, lentils require preparation. You need safe water, a heat source, cooking equipment, and enough fuel to prepare them. That's why you should never think about food storage as separate from everything else. A pantry full of dry foods isn't enough if you can't safely cook them. When stored properly, dried lentils can remain a useful pantry staple for a long time. Keep them dry, protect them from pests, and store them in suitable food-safe containers if transferring them from their original packaging. Rotate older supplies first. And remember that very old dried legumes can sometimes take longer to soften during cooking. Lentils also work extremely well with other foods on this list. Rice provides a filling base. Lentils add protein and texture. Add a few seasonings or another ingredient, and you can create a completely different meal. That's the key to a small survival pantry. You don't need 10 foods that all do the same thing. You need foods that work together. Dried lentils earn the number 9 spot because they're compact, affordable, versatile, and capable of adding protein and substance to a wide range of emergency meals. And the next food requires absolutely no cooking, which can make it extremely valuable when water and fuel are limited. Number 8. Peanut butter. At number 8 is a food that can become incredibly valuable when cooking isn't an option. Peanut butter. Unlike rice and lentils, peanut butter can be eaten immediately. No stove, no boiling water, no complicated preparation. Just open the jar and it's ready. That convenience alone earns it a place in a limited emergency pantry. But peanut butter also provides something else. A lot of energy in a relatively small amount of food. That makes it useful when you need a compact, filling option that can be paired with several other foods. Spread it on crackers. Mix it into oatmeal. Eat it with fruit. Or simply use a spoon when there are no other options available. And because it works without cooking, peanut butter can help balance a pantry filled with foods that require water and fuel. That's an important point. A survival food supply shouldn't depend entirely on one method of preparation. If your stove doesn't work, if your fuel runs out, or if safe water is limited, you still want at least some foods that are ready to eat. When storing peanut butter, keep unopened jars in a cool, dry location and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Different products can have different storage recommendations. Natural varieties may also separate and can have different handling requirements. Rotate your supply. Use older jars first, and replace what you consume. Like every food on this list, peanut butter isn't a complete diet by itself, and it may not be suitable for households with peanut allergies. But for people who can safely eat it, it can be a practical source of calories and protein. Peanut butter earns the number 8 spot because it's compact, filling, versatile, and requires no cooking. And the next food adds another important advantage. Long-lasting energy from a simple pantry staple that can work in both ordinary meals and emergency situations. Number 7. Rolled oats. At number 7 is a simple food that can work for much more than breakfast. Rolled oats. They're affordable, easy to store, and incredibly flexible. With water, oats can become a warm, filling meal. You can add peanut butter, mix in dried fruit, combine them with powdered milk, or use them in simple recipes depending on what else you have available. That's exactly why oats deserve a place in a limited survival pantry. They work with other foods instead of competing with them. Rice can be used for lunch or dinner. Lentils can add protein. Peanut butter can provide calories and flavor. And oats can give you another meal option using many of the same basic supplies. That variety matters, because surviving isn't just about having enough food. It's also about having food you can realistically eat day after day. Oats do require water to prepare properly, and cooking may improve texture and make them more enjoyable. But some oat products can also be prepared with cold or room temperature liquid, depending on the type and product instructions. Always check the package. When storing oats, keep them dry and protected from moisture and pests. An appropriate airtight, food-safe container can help maintain quality after opening. Store them somewhere cool and dry. And rotate your supply. Use the oldest packages first. Rolled oats earn the number 7 spot because they're affordable, versatile, easy to combine with other pantry foods, and capable of providing a filling meal with relatively simple preparation. And the next food brings something that many dry staples don't provide. A convenient, ready-to-eat source of protein that can be opened and used immediately. Number 6. Canned sardines. We're now at number 6. And this is where a compact survival pantry needs another important advantage. Ready-to-eat protein. Canned sardines. They may not be everyone's favorite food. But when you're choosing only 10 foods, practicality matters. An unopened can is compact, shelf-stable, and ready to use when you need it. No soaking, no boiling, no complicated recipe. Just open the can and eat. That can become especially valuable when cooking fuel is limited or the power is out. Sardines can also work with other foods on this list. Add them to rice. Serve them with crackers. Mix them into a simple pasta dish. Or eat them on their own. Another advantage is that canned sardines provide variety. A pantry filled entirely with grains and dry legumes can become repetitive. Including ready-to-eat foods gives you options when you don't want to use water or fuel. When storing canned sardines, keep unopened cans in a cool, dry place. Avoid excessive heat. Rotate your supply by using older products first. And inspect every can before opening. Never use a can that is swollen, leaking, severely rusted, or badly damaged. Different sardine products can also vary significantly. Some are packed in water, some in oil, some in sauce, and some contain additional seasonings. Choose varieties your household actually enjoys. There's no point in filling your emergency pantry with food nobody wants to eat. Canned sardines earn the number 6 spot because they're compact, shelf-stable while unopened, ready to eat, and provide a convenient protein option without requiring cooking. And now we're entering the final 5. The next food may be one of the most useful ingredients in a simple survival pantry, because a tiny amount can completely change the flavor of everything else. Number 5. Salt. We're now in the top 5. At number 5 is one of the simplest foods you can store. Salt. It may seem almost too basic, but if you're building a pantry with only 10 foods, salt can do something extremely important. It makes other foods more useful. Rice, lentils, oats, vegetables, beans, soups, and many other basic foods can become much more enjoyable with the right amount of seasoning. And unlike many fresh ingredients, salt is extremely easy to store. It doesn't require refrigeration. It takes up very little space. And properly stored salt can remain stable for a very long time. That makes it one of those inexpensive pantry staples that can quietly add a lot of value. But there's an important distinction. Not all salt products are interchangeable for every purpose. Regular table salt, sea salt, kosher salt, and specialty salts can have different grain sizes and uses. If you're storing salt for ordinary cooking, choose the type your household already uses. And if you're using salt for food preservation, follow a tested method and use the type of salt specified by the recipe. Don't assume every salt works identically for preservation. For storage, keep salt in a dry, sealed container. Moisture can cause it to clump. And keep it away from strong-smelling substances if possible. You don't need an enormous stockpile. A few appropriately stored containers can provide a long-lasting supply for normal household cooking. There's also another reason salt belongs in a survival pantry. It doesn't require cooking to be useful. You can season ready-to-eat foods, add it after cooking, or use it with other ingredients to make simple meals more enjoyable. Of course, salt isn't something you should consume in excessive amounts. Use it according to your dietary needs. But as a basic pantry ingredient, its versatility is difficult to ignore. Salt earns the number 5 spot because it's inexpensive, compact, easy to store, and capable of making many other survival foods more useful. And now we're down to the final 4. The next food is something that can provide another important source of calories, and it doesn't require refrigeration while properly stored. Number 4. Cooking oil. We're down to the final 4. At number 4 is something that can completely change how you prepare the rest of your pantry. Cooking oil. When you're building a survival food supply, it's easy to focus on rice, beans, canned foods, and other staples. But there's a problem. Many of those foods are extremely low in fat. And dietary fat is an important source of energy. That's where cooking oil can make a difference. A small amount of oil can be used to cook vegetables, prepare grains, fry foods, make sauces, or add energy to a simple meal. And you don't need a huge bottle to make a noticeable difference. That makes cooking oil useful when storage space is limited. Different oils have different characteristics. Canola oil, vegetable oil, olive oil, and other cooking oils can all have different flavors, cooking properties, and storage considerations. Choose one that fits the way your household normally cooks. Storage is especially important with oil. Keep unopened bottles in a cool, dark location away from direct sunlight and excessive heat. Heat and light can accelerate quality deterioration. Once opened, follow the manufacturer's storage instructions. And don't buy more oil than you can reasonably use before its quality declines. This is another reason rotation matters. Use the older bottle first. Then replace it. That way, your stockpile remains a working pantry instead of becoming a collection of forgotten products. Cooking oil also works with almost everything else on this list. Rice can be cooked with it. Lentils can be sautéed. Oats can be used in certain recipes. Canned foods can become more substantial when combined with other ingredients. And even a simple meal can taste completely different with the right cooking method. One important reminder: oil alone isn't a complete survival food. It's an ingredient. Its value comes from how it complements the other foods in your pantry. Cooking oil earns the number 4 spot because it provides an important source of dietary fat, supports cooking, and can make many basic pantry foods more useful. And now we're down to the final 3. The next food is one of the most versatile staples you can keep alongside rice and lentils. Number 3. Dried beans. We're down to the final 3. At number 3 is another food that can become the backbone of a simple emergency pantry. Dried beans. Black beans. Pinto beans. Kidney beans. Navy beans. And many other varieties can provide different flavors and textures while serving the same basic purpose. A filling pantry staple that works with countless other ingredients. Dried beans are especially useful because they're versatile. Combine them with rice. Add them to soup. Make a simple bean stew. Mash them into a filling. Or season them and eat them as a side dish. One bag can create multiple meals. That's exactly what you want when you're limited to only 10 foods. But dried beans come with an important trade-off. They require cooking. Depending on the variety, preparation can take considerable time. Some beans benefit from soaking before cooking. And you'll need enough safe water and fuel to prepare them properly. So if you're building an emergency pantry around dried beans, don't just count the bags of food. Count your water. Count your cooking fuel. And make sure you have a reliable way to prepare them. There's also an important food safety point. Some varieties of dried beans, particularly kidney beans, need proper boiling and cooking to make them safe to eat. Don't eat raw or inadequately cooked dried beans. Storage is relatively straightforward. Keep beans dry. Protect them from pests. And use suitable food-safe containers when needed. Rotate older supplies first. Very old dried beans may become harder to cook, so maintaining a practical rotation can help. Dried beans also pair perfectly with several foods already on this list. Rice provides a filling base. Cooking oil adds energy and helps with preparation. Salt adds flavor. And can sardines or other ready-to-eat foods provide variety? That's the real strength of a small pantry. The foods don't have to stand alone. They should work together. Dried beans earn the number 3 spot because they're versatile, filling, relatively inexpensive, and capable of becoming many different meals when properly prepared. And now we're down to the final 2. The next food is something that can provide an important source of calories while requiring almost no preparation. Number 2. Honey. We're down to the final 2. At number 2 is a food that can be incredibly useful when you want something sweet, compact, and ready to eat. Honey. Honey has a major advantage for emergency storage. It requires no cooking. You can use it directly from the container. Add it to oats. Mix it into a hot drink. Spread it on suitable foods. Or use a small amount to add flavor and sweetness to an otherwise repetitive pantry meal. And properly stored honey has an exceptionally long storage potential. Unlike many foods, honey can crystallize over time without necessarily being spoiled. Crystallization is a natural process. If the texture changes, gentle warming can return it to a more fluid consistency. But don't heat honey in a way that damages the container or creates a burn hazard. For storage, keep honey tightly sealed in a cool, dry place. Avoid unnecessary exposure to moisture. A clean, properly sealed container helps protect its quality. And remember, honey isn't suitable for infants under 1 year of age because of the risk of infant botulism. For everyone else, it's simply one optional pantry food that can add energy and flavor. Another advantage is that honey doesn't depend on refrigeration while properly stored. That makes it particularly convenient for emergency situations where refrigerator access may be limited. It also works with several foods already on this list. Add it to oats. Use it with peanut butter. Mix it into certain drinks. Or use it to make simple foods more enjoyable. But don't make the mistake of thinking honey alone provides everything your body needs. It is primarily a source of sugars and should complement, not replace, a varied diet. Honey earns the number 2 spot because it's ready to eat, easy to store, versatile, and can remain useful for a very long time when properly stored. And now we've reached number 1. The final food is the one that ties this entire 10-food pantry together. Number 1. Canned vegetables. We've reached number 1. And the final food on this list is something that can bring an important advantage to a pantry built around dry staples. Canned vegetables. Corn, green beans, carrots, peas, mixed vegetables, and other varieties can give you something that rice, lentils, oats, and beans can't provide on their own. Variety. When you're eating from a limited pantry for an extended period, having different textures, flavors, and meal combinations can make a huge difference. Canned vegetables are also convenient. They don't require soaking, and many can be eaten after opening, although heating them may make the meal more enjoyable. That means they can provide flexibility when cooking fuel is limited. You can add canned vegetables to rice. Mix them with beans. Add them to soups. Combine them with pasta or other pantry foods. Or simply eat them as a side dish. That's why they're so useful in a 10-food stockpile. One category can provide many different options. But there is an important point. Canned vegetables shouldn't replace fresh produce forever. They're simply a practical shelf-stable option when fresh food isn't available. And not every canned vegetable has the same nutritional profile. Choose a variety when possible. Look for products that fit your household's dietary needs. And compare sodium levels if that matters to you. Storage is simple. Keep unopened cans in a cool, dry place. Avoid excessive heat. Rotate older cans first. And inspect every can before opening. Don't consume canned food from cans that are swollen, leaking, severely rusted, or badly damaged. Canned vegetables earn the number 1 spot because they add variety, convenience, and flexibility to a pantry built around dry staples. So there you have it. The 10 foods that can form a practical foundation for a simple emergency pantry. White rice, dried lentils, peanut butter, rolled oats, canned sardines, salt, cooking oil, dried beans, honey, and canned vegetables. But here's the most important lesson. You don't need to own only these 10 foods. And everything outside this list isn't useless. A strong emergency pantry should ideally include variety. Different protein sources, different carbohydrates, fats, fruits and vegetables, foods your household already enjoys, and products that match your cooking abilities and dietary needs. The reason these 10 foods work well together is that they cover different roles. Some provide energy, some provide protein, some add fat, some add flavor, some require cooking, and some are ready to eat. That balance gives you options. And options are what make a pantry useful during a disruption. There's another thing you should never forget. Food isn't enough. You also need safe drinking water, a way to cook when necessary, appropriate fuel, basic food preparation equipment, and a plan for storing everything safely. Don't spend your entire preparedness budget on food while ignoring the things required to actually use it. Start small. Buy foods your household already eats. Rotate them. Store them properly. And gradually build your supply. That's much more practical than panic buying a huge amount of food you'll never use. If you found this video useful, subscribe to Prepper Pulse and turn on notifications. We upload new videos daily with practical preparedness tips, grocery advice, food storage ideas, and emergency planning strategies to help you stay informed and ready. Stay prepared, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.